When I was a young man, I went to college at Ave Maria University, which in those days was called Ave Maria College. And part of my experience at Ave Maria, I went to stay at their campus abroad in Austria for a semester. This was in 2003. Now, Austria is a country in Central Europe somewhere, and I was staying in a town called Gaming, which is in the south of Austria. And it's a very beautiful place, and there's lots of mountains. And one weekend, when I had some free time, I decided I'm going to go hike this large mountain. I'd set aside the whole day. I had like my walking stick and my hiking boots. Going to go hike the mountain. Now, I was in a bit better shape then than I am now. This was a very large mountain. Like there was like clouds and snow on the top of it. So it was quite large. And so I start hiking up the mountain, and I'm going quite a ways, and just walking. Everything's fine. And I start, after some time, I pass up into the higher reaches of the mountain where where like the trees start to fall away and everything is just shrubs and there's lots of mist. And I pass these like sketchy old cabins and all these different things. And then eventually there's not even any shrubs and it's just kind of like rock and it starts to be snow. And, when you get up in a mountain by yourself alone, it can start to mess with your head. Your mind can start to play tricks on you. And when I was up there, I started thinking back to when I first came to Austria. I saw this sign somewhere that said like, hey, there's bears in Austria. I started thinking about these bears, like, oh, are there bears on this mountain? Are there bears where I am? And I'm thinking, like, there's no trees, no anything. I'm like, if a bear came out here, I wouldn't have any shelter from a bear. And so as I'm going up into the snowy, the snow gets kind of deep. It's like, up to my shins. And I just start imagining, like, what would I do if there was a bear attack? And I just start, looking over my shoulder, like, is there a bear following me? There's no evidence of bears up there. There's no footprints, nothing. But I just couldn't get my mind off of these bears. And it just got worse and worse as I went up. And eventually I got to the point where I was like, there was this sign that was like summit 80 feet, like you just got to go a little. Okay, it wasn't in feet, it was meters because we're in Europe. But it was like the summit's right here. And I was just so terrified. I was like literally quaking as I got to the top. I could see the summit. I could literally see it. And then I just panicked and I turned and I ran and I just hauled down the mountain. It was like irrational terror. Just had to get away from the mountaintop. Just imagining that there might be bears up there. So, of course, by the time I get back down the mountain, I come to my senses, and I'm just like, oh, you beat me, mountain, cursed mountain. But later I looked this up, and this is apparently a thing. There's a word for this when you get in a very desolate, lonely spot in nature and you suddenly have irrational panic. I tried to look it up now. I couldn't find the word. It wasn't agoraphobia or anything like that. I can't remember what the word was, but that's what I had. It was very common. It's very common for people who aren't skilled mountain hikers to, if they're up there alone, to just kind of panic and freak out. And that's what happened to me because of imaginary bears. So that is the bear story, people.